Welcome to Celebrity Reports, the place where we dive deep into the fascinating world of celebrities and uncover the stories behind the headlines. For years, we watched him on our screens, a larger-than-life figure battling giant reptiles in the murky waters of the Atchafalaya Basin. Troy Landry, the king of the swamp, became an American icon, his catchphrase echoing in living rooms across the nation. But behind the edited footage and the reality TV charm, there were whispers. Stories from those who knew him before the cameras, from locals who'd crossed his path. They warned us about the real Troy Landry, and we didn't listen. We were too entertained. The warnings were never loud. They were the quiet, serious words shared over a beer at a dockside bar or muttered in the parking lot after a confrontation. They spoke of a man whose ambition was as vast and deep as the swamp itself. They said the camera didn't just follow Troy Landry, it created a monster in his image. The easygoing, family man persona was a shield, they claimed, for a fiercely competitive and ruthless businessman. The swamp, for him, wasn't just a way of life, it was a territory to be dominated. We heard tales of fishing lines mysteriously cut, of traps being pulled from spots that were supposedly secret, of heated arguments on the water that never made the final cut of the show. Rival hunters would speak of finding their markers moved, their areas suddenly and inexplicably fished out. They'd point fingers, but without proof, it was just their word against the word of a television star. The production company, of course, wanted drama, and Troy provided it, but the locals insisted the on-screen rivalries were just the tip of the iceberg. The real battle was for control of the swamp's economy, and Troy was winning. We didn't listen because we were captivated by the spectacle. We cheered when he wrangled a massive alligator. We laughed at his folksy wisdom, and we admired his seemingly unshakable confidence. The network presented him as a hero, a man keeping an ancient tradition alive, and we bought it completely. The warnings were dismissed as jealousy, the bitter complaints of those who couldn't keep up with the king. We believed the character, not the rumors, but then the stories started getting harder to ignore. Former associates, who once appeared on the show alongside him, began to quietly disappear. They gave interviews off the record, speaking of contracts they felt were unfair, of promises broken, and of a partnership that felt more like servitude. They suggested that crossing Troy Landry meant being blacklisted from the swamp's lucrative Gator season, that his influence extended far beyond the television screen and into the very fabric of the local industry. The most chilling accounts came from those who claimed the hunt itself had changed. The respect for the animal, the ancient dance between man and predator that was at the heart of the culture, was being replaced by a cold, mechanical efficiency solely for ratings. The warning was always the same. The man you see on TV is a product. The real man is a force of nature, and he doesn't like to lose. We chose to ignore the signs, captivated by the myth. Now, as more voices rise from the Bayou, the truth is becoming harder to swallow than we ever imagined. The king's reign, it seems, was built on more than just catching gators.